Hello and welcome to CSCI 40. I'm glad you're here. So I will introduce myself in a couple slides if you can wait. The first thing I want to say is that I don't put my presentations into full screen mode. One, because I'll be switching around between a bunch of different programs. It's easier for me. And then also I get cooler pens this way, so I get the rainbow pen. Much better. It's a win-win. Lectures will be over sooner because I'm more efficient this way. So it works out. So the next thing is I'm going to give you all this stuff, everything you see, this video you're watching, right? You're going to get all the slides, all the code that I write. You should have found the link for that already on our Canvas. You're getting it all right? So you can sit back and relax. You don't have to like write every little thing down. So yeah, let me give you a little sneak preview of what's going to happen today. We'll do the boring stuff first. We'll get it out of the way. I'll introduce myself. We'll go through the syllabus as fast as humanly possible to keep both of us awake. And then we'll actually get into some CSCI 40 stuff. We'll actually learn how to write programs. Our first programs today. It'll be great. So yeah, that will happen. Look forward to it. Yeah, let's start with me. So hello everybody, my name is Lawton Nichols. I use he, him pronouns, and I will respond to whatever you want to call me. So you can call me Mr. Nichols, you can call me Dr. Nichols, you can call me Professor Nichols, if I can spell professor. But honestly, I'd prefer it if you just dropped all those and call me by my first name. Please call me Lawton if you would like. I would appreciate it. What I like to say every semester is that I don't want your fake respect. I want to earn your real respect. So I don't need these titles. Call me Lawton. A little bit about my background is that I went to Fresno State for my undergrad. That's not too far away, right? I got a bachelor's degree in computer science, and then I went to UCSB, UC Santa Barbara, for grad school, and I got a master's and a PhD in computer science. So in theory, I will be able to teach you something. We will find out sooner or later. All right. I like to do normal human things as well as be a professor. I like to go running and hiking. I like to dance. I like to play guitar. So maybe we can bond over one of those things in office hours one day. So there's that. I also am a cat person. So I have a cat. His name is Alonzo. He's so cute. This was him as a kitten. He's much larger now. But I named him after Alonzo Church. If you've not heard of him, please go look him up on Wikipedia. He's a great guy. But he was the PhD advisor of Alan Turing, and that's a name you should probably know by now. So go look him up for sure if you haven't heard of him. Great smart man. Very sad life towards the end, unfortunately. But yeah, so I've dedicated my firstborn son to the cause. His name is Alonzo. He's very cute. So yeah, I just wanted to say thank you in advance for putting up with me. These are interesting times that we live in, right? This is also not the world's easiest class. It's not my fault. We're going to get through it together, all right? We're going to figure things out. We will survive. We will support each other. It'll all work out, okay? So with that, let's try to get through the syllabus and remain awake, all right? Remember, you got to read the whole thing. We'll do it, though. We'll get through it slowly but surely. So yeah, this recording may be watched by some of my in-person students. Just remember all of these things. Pause the video, remember what I said, read this. But most of us watching this video are most likely in my online class. So hello, online students. I've got the same Canvas for my in-person and online students, so they can watch this video too. So if you're in person, these are your rules. This is what's happening. But if you're in the online class, this is what's going on. So you're going to get recordings for every lecture and lab. And for attendance purposes, we're going to use those check-in surveys. So hopefully you saw the first one. That's what's going to be used for our attendance. I have to drop you if you don't do the first one or if you don't do too many of them. All right? So just keep that in mind. Got to keep doing those. It's an easy piece of your grade as well, though. So it's nice. And yeah, I'm going to try to make this a Tuesday, Thursday class since this is it's my in-person one. It's a Tuesday, Thursday class. I'll have the videos up by then. I'll press release usually before I start my Tuesday, Thursday class lecture. So that's the goal at least. And because this is online, I will give you a window to take your exams. I'll give you a 24-hour window, like between the Wednesday and Thursday of the week or whatever, to take your exams because I have no clue when you're free. You'll make some time within that window, all right? Though the exams themselves, they'll be on Canvas. They'll be they're called quizzes on Canvas, but they're there's there'll be a timer that starts ticking once you click on start. So like maybe for a midterm, I'll give you an hour and 15 minutes, and you'd watch the timer as you do it. Though, hopefully you've read this in the syllabus by now, though. I don't want to surprise you or anything. I think you can imagine it's very easy to use ChatGPT in an asynchronous online class to take exams. All right, so I've got to find a way to not let that happen, and here's the way that I came up with that doesn't require you to spend any money. All right, so hopefully you saw this in the syllabus already, but I'm going to say it again now. You have to record yourself taking tests in this class. You're going to use software like this one that I'm using to record this lecture. It's called OBS. Though you're also going to add a little corner that has your face in it, and you're going to add your microphone audio. All right, so you need a computer running Windows or Mac OS, either a desktop or a laptop, and you need a webcam and a microphone. All right, you can't take the tests in this class without those things. You need all those things. All right, and I will give you plenty of opportunities to practice recording yourself to make sure you're ready for the real deal. But that's what's going to happen, all right? That's the requirement for these tests. Otherwise, I'd have to make you pay for some software or something, and I don't want to do that. So I'm just going to force you to record yourself, all right? That's how it's going to work, and you're going to upload the video after you're done with the test. I'll give you plenty of information and guides and tutorials and things, and you'll have an opportunity to practice, okay? But that's what's going to happen. If you need some technology for that, the library is renting out laptops to you. So you can go to the library. You can rent out a laptop that's got a webcam and a microphone built in, all right? But you are going to record yourself taking the tests in this class. If you don't submit the recording or if something goes wrong, I can't give you credit, all right? That's how everything stays fair. That's the cheapest and easiest way that I could come up with, all right? So I promise it'll be okay. I'll give you time to practice, but I just wanted to say that, all right? So keep that in mind. And then in the same vein as that, let's talk about expectations just for the class in general. So this is a decently difficult class, all right? It is challenging. I assume most of you have never programmed before. This is a programming class, right? It requires no previous programming knowledge. I'll teach it to you from scratch, but it is hard, all right? Programming is a completely different way of thinking. And because of that, and for other reasons, because we're transferring to some good schools, there's like a long list of things I'm required to teach you, all right? And so I've got to give you work so that you can prove to me that you understand everything, all right? So there's going to be a lot of practicing the stuff that we learn in this class, and we're going to learn a lot of stuff, all right? So be ready for the workload. I don't want to surprise you with that, all right? One nice thing, maybe, depending on how you think or how you like to think, is this class has nothing to do with memorizing. I'm going to teach you how to speak to the computer. And as long as you learn that language, there's like a million different ways to solve a problem. It's really nice. You don't really have to memorize anything to like do well on a test. It's more of just understanding the way to come up with the answers. All right. It's a new thought process though, so it's a little weird. All right. So this class does have a lot of work. All right. So just be ready for that. There's no real way around that. All right. So we do have other classes that we offer here that like kind of prepare you for CSCI 40. If you don't think you're yet ready for CSCI 40, I do believe that you could be in this class. But if you don't have like the time to set aside this semester, we have CSCI 1 here. That's an introduction to programming, and we also have a new data science class called Data 8 that I'm teaching. If you'd like to be a part of that, that also teaches you another programming language. It's called Python, and it's also not as like hardcore. All right, but that's kind of what to expect in the class. There's going to be a decent workload, and you're going to expect that 4-unit rule to count a lot of the time this semester. So you know what the rule means? I'll tell it to you right now if you didn't, but the idea of units, right, is that you spend, this is a 4-unit class, you're going to spend 4 hours in class, or like watching the videos because this is online, right? You're going to spend 4 hours watching lectures in my instruction, and then you're supposed to double that amount. That's 8, right? And that's how many hours you spend outside of watching lectures and stuff, like actually doing work and like reading the textbook and stuff like that. You're going to spend 8 hours a week outside of class, and that's what it means to have a 4-unit class. You spend 8 hours after the lecture and all that doing work. So expect that rule to apply most weeks. All right, that's why 12 units is like a full-time load. Now you see, but like expect that to actually be true. All right, for this class. And I don't want to scare you away. I'm saying all this right now so that I don't scare you away. All right, I want to tell you before we leave this slide that even though this class is difficult, I will be here for you. Your peers will be here for you. Right? I have way too many. I'm on Discord way too often, and then I'll be having a bunch of office hours this semester. Like we will help all this information sink into your brain. I promise that you can do it, but you have to spend the time. All right. So that's expectations, and I just want to make sure you're ready for that. All right. So mentally prepare, but I believe in you. Okay. There's that. And then let me talk about the technology loan program. This is the thing. This is where you would go to check out a laptop from the library. So this it's on our resources page on Canvas. They'll give you a laptop. If you don't have a good internet connection at home, they'll give you a little hotspot router that you could check out for the semester. Even calculators, like for a math class, they can do that here. So do take advantage of that if you need the technology. Remember that because this is an online class, you need a computer running Windows or Mac OS with a webcam and a microphone to take the tests, because you will be recording yourself as well as your screen. That is necessary, okay? You cannot take the tests without it. So get the technology you need if you need it, all right? I'd be happy to help you apply if you have any questions about that. So yeah, by the way, just like send me Discord messages if you have any questions. Come to office hours, yell at me. I want to make sure everything is clear. So please ask me all the questions you want if you like, if you need to, if you notice anything that doesn't make enough sense. So that's true for the whole semester. All right, let's go to the most important slide now. This is the syllabus. So let me show you how to get to it. Hopefully you found it by now. It's this link, but it's not. It's locked until you get to everything above it. So you go to the modules page to unlock all the other pages. Hopefully, I mean that's the only reason you're watching this lecture right now, in theory. So here we go. It is right here. So syllabus. I'm just forcing you to read all these pages. This is the ones that say view. Complete all items. Complete all items. So that's how you get to the syllabus, and then I'll click on it. And I'll open it up big for us. So I'm just going to scroll through it quickly. Please read the whole thing. But I'll go to the part that you care most about, which is your grade breakdown. So here's what your grade is going to consist of. Let's talk about it. All right. So you can, let's see, you can expect to have homework, like reading assignments from your textbook, or programming assignments, and programming assignments, which I will call labs when they're on our class server, and Xylabs when they're in your textbook. You can expect to do that every week. All right, that's how you're going to practice the stuff that you learn. So 10% of your grade will be from reading stuff on the textbook and interacting with it, not including stuff called Xylabs, which is like more hardcore programming stuff in your textbook. Another 10% of your grade will be from the Xylabs on inside of your textbook. It's called a Zybook. They have a weird name, I know. But that'll be programming assignments in your textbook. They're called Xylabs. You'll see the difference on Canvas. And then 25, the bulk of your grade will be from programming assignments on our class server. Those I'm calling labs. All right, that's going to be the bulk of your grade from those. That's the biggest weighted assignment. All right. So yeah, expect those every week, and I'll introduce them all and tell you the difference in a second. And there's also check-in surveys. That's for my online classes. This is how I'm going to take attendance for you. So you have to do the first one, or I'll drop you. Or if you skip, like if you miss like 2 in a row or something, then I'm going to drop you as well. But like you need to do those for sure in this class. But even for my in-person students, it's just like I'm going to ask you questions every week. Like, what are you struggling on? How do you think you could improve? That would help me and help you. So it's just like I'm forcing you to psychoanalyze yourself for a very easy 5% of your grade. All right. So I think that's nice. And so yeah, just do them. Make sure to do them if you're in my online class, because that's how I take attendance, and I have to drop you if you don't do it. All right. Then we got some midterms. Don't know why we call them midterms if there's 2, but we've got 2 of them. They're going to each be 15% of your grade, and they're going to be a third of the way through the semester and 2/3 of the way through the semester. There's 18 weeks of classes. Like 3/3 of the way will be the final. That will be the midterms, and that's when I want to have them. I'll give you more information as we get closer, like what the day range is going to be, because I'll give you like a 24-hour range if you're online to take it. And yeah, that's your grade. The last 20% comes from the final exam, and that's all you get, right? That adds up to 100. Though I will be giving you extra credit, all right? So I'll give quite a few extra credit assignments around exam time. So I'll let you get up to 10% extra credit, all right? So 1 letter grade worth of extra credit, and I'll cut you off after that, because you'll have more than that in terms of opportunities if you go to one of these. So I'll give you half an extra credit point, so half a percentage towards your final grade, if you go to any of the ACM Club's workshops. And the way that you find out about those is you join, if you go to the welcome channel of our Discord, you go and join the ACM Club's Discord, and they have a workshops channel, and they announce when and where their workshops will be. Some of them will be online if you're an online student that's not located anywhere near the campus, but a lot of them will be in person. All right, but yeah, you'll get up to 10% extra credit in the class. I'll cut you off. The cap will be 10%. So there's that, and then yeah, let's talk about the final exam. So when is it going to be? We're just going to get it out of the way. All right, so online class, it will be between the Monday and Tuesday of finals week. All right, so the 18th and the 19th of May, and we'll come up with the date range eventually. All right. If you're in my in-person class, you will remember that I promised that you could also take it online if you wanted to and play the same game that my online students are doing, but you also have the opportunity to come in person during this time. We have the room reserved during this time for our final exam. So if you want to do it in person, you can do it. And also if you're in my online class and you want to show up, go for it. There will be room for you, I'm sure. So that's when the exam will be. It will be available through this range. And then also it's going to be in person here if you want to show up to the classroom. That is a thing. All right, so that's, I think, everything I want to say. So please yell at me if you have any questions about this slide, because this is probably the most important slide to you right now. I understand. I was a student once. So yeah, I think that's mostly what I wanted to say. Let me talk about some policies now. So my due date policy is one that might be a little bit different to other professors. I do it for a reason though. So every assignment in this class, hopefully you can see some of the due dates on Canvas. They're all on Canvas, except for the check-in surveys, which are due at 5:30. Every assignment in this class will be due at 5 p.m., not midnight, 5 p.m. All right, so please keep that in mind. Canvas tells you the right due date and due time, but just make sure that you understand that that's what it's saying. All right. The reason I do this is because there are so many technical difficulties that happen around a due date when people are scrambling to turn in assignments. And so let's just make sure I'm awake when things happen and go wrong, and I'm not asleep, and I'll usually be in office hours around this time. So that's the reason. And I just find that it works out better for me. All right, so just keep that in mind. Canvas has the right times listed, but that's what's going on. All right, I do make some exceptions though for certain students. If you fall into either of these categories, let me know. I do give some extensions for certain students if you fall into these categories. So if you work at least half time, 20 hours or more per week, where school doesn't count. Some of us, we have to work to live, right? You did not have to take 20 units. That's your fault. But some of us have to work. If you work at least half time, then I'll give you an extra 7 hours on all of your assignments. So your due date really will be midnight for your assignments, all right? If you work at least full time, so 40 hours or more per week, or you do something that is the equivalent of a full-time job, like you care for a child, for example, then I'll give you an extra 15 hours for all of your assignments. So that makes the due date 8 a.m. the next day. And so you could either stay up late or wake up early and get it in. And I hope we can all agree that students in these categories deserve this extra time. So just let me know if either of those apply to you. I'll get you in the right categories and get your due dates switched over. Do keep in mind that these are for assignments only, not exams. The window for exams is the same for everyone. The window for extra credit is the same for everyone. Assignments only. All right. So yeah, that's my due date policy. I also got a late submission policy that's pretty lenient. So I will accept late reading assignments from your textbook, or Labs, any Books assignment at all from your textbook, any labs on the class server, and any check-in surveys. If you want to turn them in late, you can. I'll accept them up to the last day of instruction, which is the Friday of the week before finals. Friday of the week before finals, all right? So that's a long time, right? If you miss an assignment, you can turn it in quite a bit later, all right? So that's quite nice. Though the give and take is I'm going to take half credit off the second it's late, okay? So that's the trade-off there. It's a good trade-off, I think, though, because 50% is much better than 0%, okay? So if you turn in a Books assignment late, so one of your textbook assignments, a reading assignment or a Lab, just tell me about it. You got to send me a Discord message or something, because it doesn't transfer over properly when it's late, all right? Everything else, it should be fine. But for Books assignments, it gives you a 0, and I need to give you half credit manually. So that's my late submission policy. We're working our way through the syllabus. So let's next talk about your textbook. So your textbook is virtual, so sadly you can't buy it used, I'm sorry. But it is legitimately the best textbook I've ever seen for this class. It is worth the money. You do have to buy it to do the assignments, all right? So it's interactive. It's really, really nice. I promise you, it's really, really nice. I'll show it to you in a second. But you can buy it in a couple different places. Once you choose where to buy it, though, the way you get to the book and enter in a code or enter in your credit card number is you click the link in the first assignment, or just any of the assignments. They're all up. So, for example, you can go to the Chapter 1, Chapter 2 first part assignment. All right. and then you say this, load chapter 1, chapter 2 first part in a new window. You click that button, and it takes you to the textbook. If you have not yet bought it, it will take you to a place where you can enter in a code that you got from the bookstore or your credit card. So that's what you click. It'll log you in like with a Canvas linked account, kind of. So you need to do it that way, all right? So let that happen and get there somehow, but I would encourage you, if you can, to just buy it directly from the zyBooks website, because I've heard horror stories of the bookstore needing to, like, the way that they give you a code for the book is like they send you a scrap of paper in the mail, in the physical mail, and that takes a while to get to you, and that's just silly. All right, so if you can buy it from the website, please do it that way. But either way, one way or another, you're going to get it, and the way you get to it is you click the link in the book. You don't go to the zyBooks website yourself. All right. So that's how it works. Click the link in Canvas. I mean, that load button. And yeah, all the assignments are up. So if you have no life, they're down here at the bottom. It can only help you to get ahead. Here's the reading assignments. They're all listed here. They're also listed in our weekly modules, like when I intend to assign them. But they're all here. They're all out and available for you if you would like to click on any more of those and read ahead. You can also get out to just the whole textbook by going and clicking the name of it. And like here's the table of contents. You can go read whatever you want. But this assignments tab is very useful to you. All right, so like here's your first assignment. Click on it and you can see all the sections I'm asking you to use, all the sections I'm asking you to read and go over. And you can also see your score so far. So like the very first section, this is just the first section, you can see that it's got a little, like it's got some animations, it's got some check for understandings. Like this is seriously going to make it so that you can understand faster. All right, this is well worth your money, I promise. This is the best textbook I've ever seen for this class. So it really is worth it. It's really going to be fun and worth buying. So yeah, they're all there. I do want to say that the way the textbook is arranged and the way this class has to run is once you hear me talk about the rest of the lecture, like once we write our first programs, you'll see like you have to know so many silly things. You have to know so many different concepts all at once to write your very first program in C++. C++ is the language we're going to use this semester, by the way. Because of that, the textbook is very front-loaded. So like I'm going to give you like a chapter a week almost, a little bit more at the start just to like get started. But the first chapters are longer. All right, so I've kind of front-loaded your work. All right, so the textbook has kind of done that for us in a sense. You just have to know so many things to get started in programming. So there's going to be like a big jump at the start. So I highly encourage you can see the point differences as well. Like the chapter 11 is only 57 points, but chapter 1 and chapter 2 is that many points. Chapter 2, chapter 3, like chapter 3 is that many. There's the last part of chapter 2. There's more points, which means more sections to read at the very start, all right? So that's nice because towards the final exam time, you won't have as much to like read and do. You'll just be practicing stuff, but do start early. Please, please, please remember to start early for the first 3 reading assignments. They are a lot if you wait until the end, all right? It's not worth it. So yeah, that's the book. We already looked at it a little bit, but you can see all the sections by clicking on, like here's the Xylab assignment, for example, and here's a bunch of different programming pieces that you'll be doing. But that's your first reading assignment, this one. And you can see how many points it is and what your score is so far by going out to the table of contents. You click the name of the book, you click the assignments tab. All right? So yeah, that's your zybook. Yeah, let's next talk about getting help and asking questions. So please use Discord if you can, because my email is disgusting and I might not see stuff. Same with Canvas messages. So please, if you can, go to Discord and send me messages that way. So you can ask questions publicly on our main Discord CSCI 40 channel. I'll show that to you in a second once it loads. But this is a great place to be asking questions. It is moving very slowly, but that's okay. There we go. All right, what we got? Here's my Lawton's class. You can see how easy it is for me to see that I've got people to respond to. See there? So when you first join our server, you'll have the welcome channel and the guide channel available. You'll scroll up to the top of the welcome channel. You'll click the 100 emoji to add the student role. You'll click the cat emoji to add the CSCI 40 role. And then you can click to add your pronouns. And then here's the ACM Club's Discord. You can click that link to join it. And that they have a workshops channel where you can see their workshops. You can go to those and get extra credit. But yeah, once you click some of those buttons, they unlock these guys like announcements, general, random, and then the CSCI 40 channel where you can go to ask questions and all your peers can see them. All right. So I highly encourage you to ask questions on our CSCI 40 channel when you can. Ask public questions, try to rephrase your question so that you can ask it in a public way, and your peers can help you when it's 3 a.m. and I'm asleep, all right? So yeah, please try to ask questions there as much as humanly possible. I want you to use your judgment though. What I don't want you to do is share answers, like complete answers, or tons of code publicly. If it's just a little tiny snippet of things, then it's probably fine. But please use your judgment. Don't give away answers by asking questions publicly. All right? I don't want that, because that's not fair to the other students. They need to try on the same question, right? They can't have your work to get them started. So just smaller questions only publicly, please. If you need to send me a ton of code and ask a question that way, that's when you should privately ask me a question. Send me a DM, a direct message. You can click my name, right-click my name, and there should be a message option. I'm just not allowed to message myself on Discord. But that's where I want you to contact me, please. Please use that instead of email or Canvas to contact me. It's a very easy way for me to see who I need to respond to. Okay? So that's the goal. And that's Discord. Please take advantage of that and ask a public question when you can. I've also got office hours to get help. So every one of my office hours is on Zoom. There will also be in-person office hours if you'd like to show up, but the schedule is here. Here's the schedule of when I want to have my office hours, first of all. This may change, all right? But these green boxes are when I'm having office hours. You can always come on Zoom with the Zoom link, or this is also the same Zoom link. But just check before you come, because I might have to move some of these around. Just make sure that the schedule still looks the same, like you're within the time frame. Because I might get some meetings that I have to go to, and I might have to move things around this semester. But this is at least when I want to have my office hours. But just check before you come. And that's those. Yeah, that's what's going to happen. And so that's most of the logistical stuff. The last thing I want to say really to you is programming is not an easy thing to grasp. It's a new way of thinking. It's a little weird, and you will get stuck. You will 100% get stuck in this class. And when you've been stuck for too long, I really want you to ask for help. All right. What I did in undergrad was I stared at my screen for like 2 hours when I was trying to figure out where to go next. I don't want you to be like me. All right. I want you to get help when you need it. So let's set a time limit. Let's say that you've been stuck on something for 30 minutes, like a virtual timer goes off in your brain, or you notice you've been waiting 30 minutes, and you're not sure what to do. You've made zero progress. Then I want you to ask for help. I want you to come to office hours. I want you to ask a public question on Discord. Send me a private message if you need to on Discord. Go to the tutorial center. If you've not heard of the tutorial center on campus or on Zoom, they have both options. They are wonderful. Your peers can help you. So one way or another, I need you to come and get help from somebody, potentially me. All right. I want to help you get over whatever you're on and on to the next one. Okay. So yeah, please take advantage of all the resources we have, including me. I am a resource to you. I want to make sure that you're not stuck for too long, but you will notice, if you've never programmed before, and most of you haven't, you will notice that you'll have been stuck for 29 minutes and 59 seconds on something, and then you'll have a flash of genius. And that's how we learn. All right, that is learning in a nutshell in computer science. So like, expect that to happen. You will get stuck for a little bit, but then you'll figure it out. All right, but if you've been stuck for too long, I want you to ask for help, please. All right. So with that, that's most of our logistical stuff. Please yell at me if you have any questions about anything. But hopefully we're all still awake. Remember to read that syllabus. The last thing I want to say before I give us like actual computer science knowledge is I want to talk about the class website and some different accounts that I've made for you. So the class website you can get to from our home page. You can also just type it in. It's this one, class website. It's www.lottensclass.com. Dun, dun, dun. I'll show it to you in a second, but I've got two accounts for you, first of all. I've got you a class server account, that's over SSH, and the other is the class website where you're going to in your web browser. They both have the same username and also the same default password, which is your username, all right? There are two accounts and they are separate. There is nothing different. There is nothing the same about them, all right? They just are going to have the same username for you and also the same default password. But when you change one account's password, like you change your password on the class website, it does not change your password on the class server. They're two separate accounts, but with the same username. All right, same username and default password. So just keep that in mind. They will not sync over unless you manually change the password to be the same on both of them. Okay. So they're separate accounts, and the class website you can get to by going here or on the homepage. It's www.lawtonsclass.com. And for you as a student, it looks a little bit different. So let me go to you in student form. The way that you log in, your username and password are right now your last name, underscore, and student ID, where you have lowercase your last name. You've gotten rid of any hyphens or spaces or anything. It's your last name, all lowercase, no spaces or hyphens, and underscore, and your student ID. So this is your last name, this is your student ID, this is your username and your password on the class website, and the class server right now too. All right, if this is your last name, and this is your student ID, then this is your username and password on the class website. All right, so please try to log in. We're not going to do attendance for the online class, of course, but that's where my in-person students will do attendance. But yeah, please log in. I've got a default test user for myself. This is what it's going to look like for you. All right, so you can change your password up here. Highly encourage that. And remember, changing this password does not change your class server's passwords. It's still going to be set to the default one. This is the class website. And the place where you're going to go as an online student is this AutoGrader grades page. That's where you're going to live. It's a pretty way to get to see your grades on your class server labs that you've submitted. All right, I'll talk more about that when I go over your first lab, but that's where you're going to go for that stuff. All right, it's a nice, pretty way. I've worked very hard on it. All right, the rest of the stuff is for either my other class or my in-person classes. All right, so there. That's our class website. You're going to use it to look at your grades for your labs on the class server in a pretty way. All right. Or if you're in my in-person class, you've watched me, you're going to take attendance. You're going to do other things on that. Okay. So I think that is more or less what I wanted to say about everything that is not actual CSCI 40 stuff. That was just the introductory things. So yeah, please yell at me if you have any questions about this stuff. But it's time to move on. It's time to actually get to fun things, stuff that I'm excited to talk about, and hopefully you're excited to learn. So in the next video, the one right below this one, you should see one that you can play, and there it will have a real lecture where we get into actual computer science stuff. We're going to write some code. You're going to see the first programs unfold before your eyes. It'll be great. So I will see you in that video.